Novice's Guide to Beer Styles podcast. I'm your host, Lauren McCaffrey, and today we are going to talk about the Munich Helles. Definitely one of my favorite styles. It was named for the city which it came from, Munich, and for its physical attributes. Hell in German is synonymous with light, bright, or pale. Kind of ironic in English, though. Along with many of the German, Czech lager styles, the Helles was largely glossed over in the American craft beer boom of the last 30 years. People often rate it poorly on several of the beer rating apps because of its subtlety. A proper Helles, according to Ashley Carter of Bierstadt Lagerhaus, is the purest perception of malt. It should taste like malt with just enough hop bitterness to balance the sweetness, but not be perceptible enough for drinkers to know the hops are there. Color-wise, this beer ranges from pale straw to gold. When using the standard reference method, which measures the opacity, it falls between 3 and 5.5. It should have a white, fluffy, foamy head that adds a bit of creaminess to the flavor. In order to preserve that head retention, though, and to help with presentation, this beer should be served in a beer flute. Yes, it's exactly what you're picturing. It looks a lot like a wine flute that we use for champagne and other sparkling wines. And the head retention is important in this style because that foam acts as a net to catch a lot of the compounds that give this beer its aroma. It has more of an impact on the beer experience than most people realize. The Helles aroma is sweet and malty with a faint background of hop spices. In international bitter units, it's going to fall between 16 and 25. And that's definitely on the low end of IBUs, and that's on purpose. Again, let me repeat that IBUs are not synonymous with perceived bitterness. It's not like a Scoville unit. It's only measuring one compound in a beer that contributes to bitterness, and that's isoalpha acids. The traditional hops used in this beer are the 4 noble hops: Hallertau, Tettnang, Satz, which is spelled S-A-A-Z, and Spalt. I've seen a lot of the Helleses in the US using Hallertau for this beer, and occasionally Satz. Helleses have a medium body, medium carbonation, and a smooth finish. These beers are very clean, refreshing, and thirst-quenching. This is not a beer so overwhelming in flavor that you have to stop after 12 ounces. I could drink a few pints, especially since the ABV is 4.7 to 5.6%. And I'm not the only one. Most of the brewers I know drink lagers almost exclusively. I know a lot of people think of lagers like this one as ancient traditional German styles, but this one's actually not that old. The first Helles was developed in Munich in 1894 to compete with the new Pilsner that had come across the border from Bohemia. In truth, that's only part of the story, but listen to my regular Helles episode to get the full story of royalty, espionage, and war amongst the brewers. So, in review, the Helles is a delicious lager that's very easy to drink. It's a pale straw to gold-colored beer with a white, fluffy head that can be served in a fancy beer flute for good head retention. Seriously, serve it in a flute. There's a lot of care that goes into this beer, and it deserves your appreciation. Again, because it is a lighter beer, it has an SRM of 3 to 5.5. Before you drink this beer, take the time to appreciate its sweet malty aroma with a background of malt spices. To quote a friend of mine, if you don't appreciate the aroma of a beer, you don't understand foreplay. The IBU, or International Bitterness Units, in this beer should be between 16 and 25. It has a medium body with medium carbonation and a smooth finish. The ABV is between 4.7 and 5.6%. This beer was developed in Munich to compete with the Pilsner. Key to this beer is moderation. Nothing is done in excess with this style. Alright, compadres, that's going to do it for this Hellas Flashcard episode. If you want to buy me a beer or support the podcast, find us on social media. But more importantly, drink less, drink better, and always enjoy.